I just want to do something that I'm going to commit to.
I'm so compelled to share, to pull other people out of their situation.
And I'm giving hope to women just like me who, probably felt unseen or probably...
It's just about finding what you love and what you're passionate about.
Do what you love. Do what you love.
And I really realized that this is what happens once you let go. You just create all that space,
It's about helping each other. It's about growing with each other. It's about being true to self.
To whom much is given, much is required.
You only ever have one obstacle, and that's yourself.
Welcome to the Commit to Change. Change your life, change your future.
Hey, and welcome to the Commit to Change, otherwise known as C2C podcast, that gives a voice to the people who may be considered a small fry in their industry, but are doing big things in their communities. Once a month, the Commit to Change podcast likes to feature special edition guests that are considered an expert in their industry, have created a business with fiscal expansion, and have taken their commitment worldwide. This is Miss Nikki, the Jane of all trades, but the master of living. I am committed to introducing local VIPs, which are vivaciously inspiring people to encourage you on your daily journey, as well as let you know what is possibly happening around you in your area. Today's guest, although I know I've already said his name, I'm not going to say his name to the end because I want to get you intrigued into this intro. He is best known as the co-creator of HBO's Russell Simmons Death Comedy Jam. He's a recognized force in the world of comedy and the man behind most comedy legends. I have had the honor of knowing him for pretty much the majority of my life, as he is from my hometown, Roselle in New Jersey. He has over 25 years of experience in the business and has discovered many of the top gifted comedians that have graced the stages and big screens around the world. While attending Seton Hall University, he hosted a radio show on SHU's FM station, WSOU, where his Friday night jam show was called Mellow Madness. In 1989, he was hired at Def Jam Records, and in 1992 created and executive produced, along with entertainment titans Russell Simmons and Stan Lathan, HBO's Def Comedy Jam, which forever changed the landscape of urban comedy. Before joining Rush Communications, our guest was an independent club promoter for musicians and comedians in the tri-state area. He has found and launched the careers of some of the most successful comedians today, including Kevin Hart, Bill Bellamy, Mike Epps, Dave Chappelle, Cheryl Underwood, Chris Tucker, Cedric the Entertainer, and the late, great Bernie Mac. The list goes on and on. He is currently the executive partner in Laugh Mob Enterprises, which has produced specials that have aired on Showtime, DirecTV, On Demand, and Vubiquity. He executive produced Laugh Mob's We Got Next on Aspire and is currently the executive producer of the second season of True TV's Laugh Mob's Laugh Tracks. He is also curator of comedy at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York, and has served as comedy producer for such notable events as the American Black Film Festivals, HBO Comedy Weeks competition, Hall of Famer Alonzo Mourning's Zoe's Comedy Groove. He presents on the Soul Train Cruise and the Newark International Film Festival. Whew. And I know that is not even touching into all the things that he has done. That's just a little snippet. So, are you ready for the next non-comedian? Welcome to the C2C audience, or the C2C podcast, Mr. Bob Sumner. Woo!
Hey, Nick. Wow, right? From Roselle to Hollywood. That's how we do it, right?
Yes, yes. So, first of all, I'm super honored that you said that you would do it. You said yes to the cast. Yes, I appreciate it. And then you decided you would do it live. So that's very exciting too. So thank you so much for coming on the show. So I know I just read like some amazing things that you've done. Like, I'm going to turn it over to you to just give us a little more insight about who's Bob, what makes Bob Bob.
Well, it actually starts with how you open up the program. You were speaking on you talk to small fries. You know, you talk to small fries.
Not
and
you.
Well, this is what, no, check out where I'm going with this. I understand. No, because when I heard you say that, all right, now where is she going with this? And I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. When you're in your community, okay, you're always a small fry. People don't even know what you do outside the community if they see you in the community all the time. And that's because a lot of people who make it don't come back home.
Right.
Okay. So with that being said, by you saying small fries within the community, you know, who does do things in the community, and then you led me to being some guy who's doing this, that, and the other. No, one thing about myself, I will always be me. You know what I mean? Because I think it's very important. You know, when you was coming up, you know, and I was doing things, we would talk, you know, and for me to see what you're doing now, I like to think some of what we talked about rubbed off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you call me to ask me to do this for you, your community, you home, you the home team. If I could do this for everyone else, most certainly I could do it for you, especially live at noon on a Friday, the 13th. Come on now. You know, let's do this. Let's talk about whatever it's going to be. But when you say like, who am I, this, that, and the other, when I was coming up through the Roselle education system, I was able to see who I was going to be at an early age, because my teachers at Lincoln School, which is now Polk School in Roselle, we were considered to be the underdogs. But our teachers was there for us. And they made sure that we were, even though we were getting the bottom of the barrel of the books, trust me when I tell you that, we were getting the books that had the torn up covers and stuff, but they still had things in there that we needed to know about. I'm not saying that the history was telling the truth, you know what I mean? But our teachers, I know Edith Maynard told us the truth. I know my kindergarten teacher, Kathy Gaines, prepped me for the next phase. You know what I'm saying? So I took it all the way through. And then when I got to Roselle High School and I had Sister Kenny, I had Mr. Doobie, you know what I mean? They cared about me, as well as our principal, Mr. Sluwiak, was the dopest principal ever. I want to do a movie on him. I know I'll win I'll get Ruth Carter to design his outfits, because he would win for best outfit. You know what I'm saying? So that's always been, it all starts at home. And now, you know, we just got a new mayor who I believe is a throwback from the type of men who were there for me when I grew up in Roselle, like Mr. Heyman and Mr. Cummins and Mr. Woody and Mr. Wyatt. You know what I mean? That's who Donald Shaw, Mayor Donald Shaw in Roselle is now. So I'm back to the community for real, to try to bring everything that I've learned from Roselle to across the world back home.
That's awesome. And that's something that I did notice, like you were always still home. You were present in what we were doing in the community or what was happening in the community. And you were always so humble. You were always so humble. I would have never known that you done all the things that you've done if I didn't, of course, know that you've done the things you've done. But I just felt like you were just always so humble, and I've always appreciated that and admired that in you. And then you never forgot whence you came. You know what I mean? You always, touch back. You were at the Breakfast of Champions, you would go and support people, the kids coming through. And that's something that our youth needs, even the adults, just to see like, wow, like he's still coming back to give back to,
Always.
to us, and that's so important. And I feel like so many people forget that. They're like, oh, well, I'm moving on, I'm moving forward. But like when you've been nurtured and you yourself have been inspired through the people that brought you through, it's like, well, how can I give back? How am I able to also support them, but in another way, kind of like that pay it forward method? So thank you for that.
You're welcome. What's really interesting about that part of me though, is the time period when I was raised. I'm a product of the 60s, and I really got an opportunity to see what America was like during the 70s. Okay, which led me to be a proud member of Roselle High School, Abraham Clark High School's class of 79. Okay, and it's so, when I look at what has happened to society over the years during my life and time, and I think about when we had our first Black president, okay, we'll talk about that. And when I realized that this man here, he's my classmate, class of 79. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying to myself, and then a great friend of mine, Reggie Hudlin, okay, director Reggie Hudlin, he produced quite a few films, including Marshall, Thurgood Marshall and stuff. And he's class of 79, from the House Party. He did House Party years ago, and he just actually did a documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you saw The Black Godfather. And it's the story, please watch it. It's the story of Clarence Avant, a mogul in the entertainment industry. And it's so cool because Mr. Avant's story and my story, it starts out pretty similar, as we both worked for a man by the name of Teddy Powell, who used to be the big concert promoter in the Newark area, So check it out when you see it. So, it's like I didn't do all of this by myself. You know what I mean? And as we continue this conversation, you'll see what I mean.
Okay. Well,
Colette Walker, my classmate, she's in here right now.
I see.
This is cool. Yeah. Hey, Cole. Yeah.
So let's take a quick turn. And I want to ask, can you tell our audience something unique about you that people may not have ever heard?
Well, I think that people are actually starting to get wind of some things that might have been unique about me that they had never heard. Two things in particular, and it actually leads to what would have been my career choices if I wasn't doing what I'm doing. Actually, there's something else that I just turned people on to since the pandemic. Oh man, it must have been about 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, I happened to be near an art supply store, right? And I was like, you know what? I need to get me a nice piece of canvas and take it back to my Seton Hall art class days, right? And paint an abstract portrait of something. Never got around to it until the pandemic. I had time, right? And I did an abstract joint original that I feel that anybody could put. You could put it in a million dollar, $5 million mansion. So it was just something that art has come naturally to me, and there it was. So that's one of the things that I think that people was like, damn, you know what I mean? You doing it like that? Now, at the same time, as I've, moved into television, okay, there was two other things that I had my heart set out to do besides being a teacher, okay? I was a teacher at Roselle High School. I subbed, and then I had classes that I took over for the years and stuff. Like Roselle High School, I went back. You know what I mean? After Seton Hall, I went back, okay?
Okay.
But one of the other things that I did while I was at Roselle was I helped Coach Smith with the JV basketball team, right? And like, I always hooped, but the comedians never knew that, okay? So basketball was one of the things that if I'm not doing what I'm doing now, I probably would have been a scout. No different than I was a scout for comedians. I would have been a scout for either college or the NBA. I know it, or maybe somebody's assistant coach. But like Bill Bellamy and Hamburger and Derek Fox, comedians, those are the only comedians that really knew that I hooped, right? So when we used to be on the road on tours and stuff, one day I finally decided that I was going to lace my joints up and go out there with them. And see, it's a difference when you play out there in the playgrounds and stuff, as opposed to playing on hardwood, organized ball, knowing how to run a game, how to play a game. Those comedians found out that Uncle Bob can do something else besides find comedians. You dig? So that was one of the things. And then the other thing is something that I've been doing on Sunday afternoons now here at, now that we have, some time to lay back.
Right.
I've always been into music, okay? And when I was at Seton Hall University, I had my own radio show at 20 years old. FM radio, people with Frankie Crocker knew who I was. You know what I mean? Frankie Crocker. Yeah. So it was one of those things. So that was the other thing. I was a DJ for years. Even all of the Roselle High School proms and stuff back in the day, I used to do all of the proms, just like Chill X. I would do the proms. But what I also did, along with B. Bolton, remember Miss Bolton from the high school? I don't know if she was there when you were there. Anyway, she was an English teacher. And, one thing about Roselle High School that I noticed that they didn't have like the school plays, like, or things that, other towns, you look at these movies on Lifetime or whatever, and they have all this stuff. So Miss Bolton and I got together and we created the homecoming pageant. That's where it all started at, with Miss Bolton and I. Yeah. But I was the MC, I was the host. You know what I'm saying? Of it, because I was always doing things as I was trying to move up and get into the industry on a professional tip.
Nice. Wow. So
those are the things.
That's awesome. Yeah. You shared 3 things with us. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. So so I have to hit number 1, which you said you did a painting. Is it nearby? Because I think we should see it.
No, the painting is hanging in the living room.
Oh, okay.
It's hanging. I mean, it's living room action. I mean, think about that, huh? Because I'm not just gonna put anything up, but this joint here, As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to one of the former Roselle football stars. He asked me, could I put something together? He just bought a new crib. And I'm just trying to get my ideas together, and I'm put together about something original for him.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I think I might have to request something.
Well, yeah, all right. We can talk about it. Might take 2 years, but it's good.
Hey, that's okay. I have something to look forward to, right?
There you go.
Okay, so then, so of course, the basketball stuff, I know you've been to, like, when I've been there for the basketball, like when they do the verses, I think they do the class verses.
Yeah.
I've seen you for those things.
Right.
But, I didn't know that you played as well. So
that's
definitely something new to me that I got to learn today. Yay!
I'm proud. I'm proud of putting on that red and gray. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I hear
very
you.
proud. Yes,
Good.
yes.
Oh man. So, and then the other thing is, I didn't know that you started the homecoming pageant. So that's
Yes,
awesome
ma'am.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, because
So,
I mean, it was very Shalonda Tanner. Shalonda Tanner, I believe she was the first winner, and
what?
they were all displaying. It was freshman. Every class was represented, and it was just so dope. I mean, it was just like I felt like one of them guys at the Miss America pageant, you know, and everything. The only thing is I had to make sure that I had the right result. That was the main thing, you know.
Right. That's your partner.
Yeah, right. Whole nother story.
Right. So, but I was the homecoming queen of '96.
I'm
So,
sure. That's what's up.
Yay! Of
Yeah.
course, then I've never got a chance to go back after that because I don't know if they never had events or something, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Well, again, that's the thing about consistency with something. You know, at Roselle just appointed Dr. Nate Fisher as the new superintendent of schools.
What?
Yes, and Nate,
so
awesome. Yeah, and he called me in the middle of the night because someone told him that I can help him get the Hall of Fame moving, the Athletic Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Roselle is going to actually, you know, they have a new football facility and everything.
Yes, I saw that being made.
So they're going to try to make something happen. And see, the thing is, it's important for the youth to see what others have done. You know what I'm saying? Because it inspires you, it inspires you. You know what I'm saying? To do, you know, I never forget back, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little later, but in, I guess it was 2017, 2018, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of Def Comedy Jam.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. I saw it on TV. It was
you saw it on Netflix.
Yeah. Netflix.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So now I'm going over to Pinhole's Bakery. Shout out to Pinhole's Bakery. They're one of the sponsors of my celebrity softball game that I do in Roselle, in memory of my dad every summer. All right. But I'm over at Pinhole's, right? And when I come out of Pinhole's, I see these kids standing on the corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear them having a conversation, and then they go, there he go right there, right? When I hear them go, there he go right there, I understand. In 2005, I was carjacked, okay? That's a whole, well, yeah, it's a whole lot with me these days, okay? But this particular day, these kids is standing there talking about there he is, right? And one of them came running at me, right? Know what he says to me? My dad knows you. I'm like, who's your dad, right? And he says, who's his dad? I said, so what's up? What's up with you guys? He said, wasn't you on TV the other day? And I was like, yeah. And he started jumping and the kids started jumping. I told you. I stood there and talked to those kids for 15 minutes about life. About life and me being from 07 to 03. And they could do the same thing I did.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I'm all about. People who misjudge who I am, or they mad at me because I didn't put them on, and then they come back later and say, man, I'm glad I didn't cuss you out, or I might not have ever got put on. That's what I do. I test their character sometimes, because a lot of times when they think they're ready, they're not ready.
They're not ready.
You know who knows they're ready? God knows they're ready. And I only follow him. So he tells me when they're ready.
Right. Yeah. That's big. That's big. Some people want to jump the gun and they're not in that mental state or the emotional state to be able to handle what comes with that position. And when you jump the gun, then that's the quickest way to fall and crash and burn. So
Your
that's
time
good.
is your time. Your time
Right.
is your time. You know.
So that's good that like you even have the foresight to see that, because some people want to be liked. They're immediately like, yeah, I got you. I'm gonna put you on, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, then it turns out that it doesn't work out. So by you being able to see that and have that connection with God and knowing that, you know, it's not time yet. You're going to put in the work. Some people always want that handout too. It's like, you got to put in that work to get yourself there.
Stop it. Hey, Nick, check this out though. This whole stoppage, this pandemic, this stoppage, as bad as things have been in my business, it was so necessary. So necessary. I'm going to tell you why. Because I did something in 1991 along with Russell and Stan that no one has done. I heard a conversation, a podcast the other day. They were talking about it was the golden age of comedy for Black comedians. Could it be done again? This, that, and the other, and everybody's doubting it. Let me tell you something. This reset here has created a whole shift, all right? I have the formula to what made that thing pop off in 1991, okay? What is next year? 1921, I'm getting ready to shine some shoes. You know what I'm saying? It's getting ready to happen. You know, it's getting ready to happen. And we're getting ready to make some announcements that's gonna blow the socks off of people. But when I tell you that things are getting ready to go to a whole nother level with the next generation, because everybody's even now, you know, sold out shows is a third of what they were before. So I need the funny more than the celebrity.
Right. We're being taken back to basics on all levels.
All levels. And I'm just the one to do what I do, because if you do the math, ain't nobody did it like Uncle Bob. Real talk. Real talk. You know, I had the pleasure to be on the most talked about Ebony magazine in the past 20 years. And what it was the commemorative issue that covered President Obama's first 4 years in office. Wow. And they had a story on Def Comedy Jam in that issue. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That says something. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you a quick tidbit about that. When that magazine came out, all I could say is, wow, okay? The reason being, I was supposed to be in the April issue, the comedy issue. They do a comedy issue, right? So here I am. I went in January to do the interview at Johnson Publishing Company. Now, Johnson Publishing Company was owned by John Johnson, who was the keynote speaker at the Howard Communication Conference when I was in Seton Hall. I used to go down there to network, okay, and get knowledge from these folks. And I had a one-on-one with Mr. Johnson. And he inspired me to keep it moving when he said that he built that company off of a $500 loan, okay?
Wow.
Now, when I walked into that Johnson Publishing Company on the coldest day of the year, January 18th, a week before my birthday, never will forget it. I was just like, I've arrived, okay? Now, they're up in here talking to me, you know, interviewing me, this, that, and the other. Then they told me when it was coming out. So now, just like when, I never forget when Def Jam was going to air, you know, and I was just so excited about it, okay? And then it finally aired. In the first phone call that I received at 6 a.m. from the person that used to come on at midnight, the first person who called me was a man named Gigi Woody. You know Gigi Woody.
The funeral?
Yeah. was. He called me just to congratulate me. He said that he saw this show last night that he loves, and he saw a name that said Bob Sumner, right? He said, would that happen to have been you? And I was like, yes, Mr. Woody. And that was like, oh my God, right? So that was the same feeling I got at Johnson Publishing Company when they told me that the story would be out in April, right? So now it's March. And I'm like, this is when it's supposed to, normally it comes out like a month before for home subscribers, it comes in. So anyway, I'm looking for this, right? And then they hit me up because in March was the Grammys. I mean, the end of February. End of February was the Grammys. And that's when Nippy passed away.
Yeah.
Right? So they told me that they were going to move the issue that I was going to be in back because they were going to devote the whole April issue to Nippy. And I was like, I totally understand that, So then they said, well, it looks like it's going to be October. It didn't come out, right? Next thing I know, I get a phone call and they tell me that it's coming out in the presidential issue. I was like,
yes.
all right.
Yeah.
So again, that's how things happen.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So I'm really curious as to what got you started on even wanting to go into that field? Like what made you, even be interested in radio or emceeing or DJing? Like what was that foundation for that?
Here it is. Here it is. You ask great questions because they are the questions to ask. It goes back to Roselle, right? There was a man named Roosevelt Greer. Roosevelt Greer is a former All-Pro NFL player with the New York Giants who came there from Penn State. And then he went from the New York Giants to becoming a member of the fearsome foursome for the Los Angeles Rams. They had a front line that was amazing. And from there, he became an actor. Then he became a bodyguard who actually apprehended the shooter of Robert F. Kennedy. Wow. He's a Roselle High School graduate.
What?
Okay. Then there's my uncle. My uncle used to sing on the corner of 9th Avenue and Spruce in Roselle. He also attended Abraham Clark High School, all right? He used to sing in the bar there called the Omega Lounge or the ENS, whatever you want to call it. He would be in there every weekend singing his signature tune, Danny Boy, right? His sister had went to Los Angeles. She sang. There was this group out there that needed a lead singer. She let them know that her brother can sing. Had him come out to Los Angeles. They chose him to be the lead singer for the singing group. Now, mind you, he went from Roselle to Hollywood, right? He attended Lincoln Elementary School on Warren Street, all right? Roselle High School. And now he's world-renowned singing for a rock and roll Hall of Fame group called The Platters.
What?
Tony Williams. Yes. That's where it all started. You saw the movie Why Do Fools Fall in Love? and Halle Berry was playing Zola, Frankie Lyman's wife. That group, that was his group.
Wow.
So that there was the beginning of my parents seeing what happens right there within our community.
Right.
Okay. So now that leads them to frequenting a place called the world famous Apollo Theater. Okay. So they used to go to the Apollo all the time before I was born. So what's going to make them stop when I'm born? Okay. So I used to go with them and my two older brothers. All right. My brothers were musicians. My mom worked for RCA Records. My dad was managing, he was a barber who also was managing a singing group, right? They were all into this thing. So here I am absorbing all of this, right? Now I'm at the Apollo Theater watching the James Brown Review, watching the Motown Review, watching Red Fox, watching Slappy White, watching Nipsey Russell, watching Moms Mabley, watching Richard Pryor. All of this is inside of me, okay? So it led me to doing what I started doing. I took all my mother's records from RCA and used to play them in my little garage in the back, and that led me to DJing. And one thing led, and the crazy part now is here I am 4 or 5 years old at the Apollo, and I'm now curator of comedy at the Apollo. You can't make this up. You can't make this up.
Wow, went full circle. Wow.
Full circle.
Wow. I'm learning so much more. Wow. I'm like blown. I'm just sitting there like, and I forgot I was the host. I love it. I absolutely love it. That says a lot. That says a lot. And just hearing your story, people who are listening, they can be inspired that there's hope, that you can come from humble beginnings and make a difference in this world. And
you know, the cool thing though, the cool thing for me is, I mean, from the door, and some of my classmates who's on right now will tell you that I've always been an A student. You know what I mean? I always was an A student. My parents made sure that I was on top of my game, educational, right? But not only was I an A student in the classroom, I was an A student on the street. That education was every bit as important because, you know, a lot of people are amazed, but they say, Bob, you know everybody. It's because I was raised in the barbershop on St. George Avenue, next to a bar, okay? Roselle, Linden, everybody's, you know, we're one. We're basically one when it comes to the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just knew everybody, all of the players. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I even was a runner. For them at times. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about as a kid. But that wasn't just on St. George Avenue. My grandfather had the community laundromat next to that same bar where my Uncle Tony was singing, was a laundromat there, and next to a bar. So I spent my time at a laundromat and a barbershop next to two bars. I had no other choice but to learn the street game. You know what I mean?
Right. So when you started getting into the industry, right, and things started flowing, can you tell us like what experience, because you just said everything came full circle. So what experience did you have in the beginning of your career that you feel holds true to today and has helped you in where you are today?
Staying in my lane, for one. Staying in my lane. I'm here to do my job. I'm not trying to do his job or her job. I'm here to do the job that you want me to do. I'm not brown nosing. I'm not taking no brown noses. I could smell you when you're just trying to be there with me just so you can move on. I learned a lot from that. Okay. I I went hard in the game. I made sure that I'm there for others, like John Amos was there for me, like Chuck Brownlee was there for me, like the Jeffrey brothers, Billy Press, Bill Franklin. There's so many people, Greg Smith, like there's so many people that line me up for success, you know what I mean? Without expecting anything in return, because it's on you. Everything is based on you, you know? So I put myself in the right positions to move ahead. You know, I had a regular 9 to 5 after Seton Hall. Before I went to this high school, I did this 9 to 5 that made me feel like I was on a damn plantation. And it was a well-known corporation. And it was like one lunchtime, I said, I got to go to the hospital because I think I'm having a nervous breakdown.
Oh, man.
And it was real. Yeah. This was in about 1987, 88, right around 86, right around there, because when I went to the high school, that's when I started helping out. I did the class 87. I was like their advisor. I did I did a fashion show for them to raise money and stuff. Like it was around that time when I had to get my head together because God was telling me that he had something else for me to do. Don't be in here just trying to keep up with the Joneses because you've been to college. You know what I mean? You could utilize yourself. Man, we're going to continue because I know you sent me them notes and you talked about a book. Is there any book? Yes, there is a book. So we'll get to that.
Yes, we're getting to that. So what would you say was your biggest obstacle when you first got into the business, and how did you overcome it? And then what has been your biggest obstacle since you've reached your current level of success, and how have you overcome it?
It's just about, the obstacle is having people believe in you like you believe in yourself. I mean, that's been my biggest obstacle. I always felt that whoever would give me that opportunity to get in, I'm not getting out. Okay. I'll get in and help you build yours, but eventually it's going to be time for me to build mine. You know, that's why so many people ask me, Bob, do the comedians ever give back? Ain't nobody ever bought me no cars. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody, I done made trillionaires. They all got Bentleys. Ain't nobody, all of them, and I'm putting it out there. They could all say, let's all put in $10,000 and give, you know what I mean? But that ain't where I'm at. I'm into the next generation. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do right now. My obstacle right now is trying to get people to believe that there are more. There are more, okay? Because I did a documentary one time called Why We Laugh that Robert Townsend had produced. And the question was asked to me, just like I saw this podcast a couple weeks ago, can it be done again? And my whole thing, they even use it for a snippet, because back when I was coming up, the man was Dr. J, okay? Julius Erving was the man, all right? Nobody thought they'll ever see another Dr. J until they saw this guy named MJ. They call him Air, okay? And then it was Kobe, rest in peace, okay? And now LeBron, and everybody's trying to figure out who was the best. They don't even talk about Dr. J no more. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at this whole comedy thing. It was Pryor. It was Eddie. You know what I mean? It was Pryor. It was Eddie. You know, before then, it was whoever, whatever it was, okay? Then I was able to identify a plethora of them. That's why everybody thinks it can't be done again. But the truth of the matter, I told you I was going to be a basketball scout. Right? The truth of the matter is you be out there and you will see the next. And right now I'm looking at a list of, I could do a new Def Comedy Jam right now with people you ain't never heard of. And they will become the same stars that when Kevin Hart was in my contest in 1996 or whatever it was. Nobody knew who it was. Or when Chris Tucker was in a contest in 1992 that he didn't even go into the next round. Okay, but I was able to see something in him, put him on Def Comedy Jam. The next thing you know, he's Smokey on Friday. You know what I mean? I'm serious about what I do. So when you ask me about Are there obstacles? The obstacle is everybody's trying to figure out how to make the next Def Comedy Jam without calling the guy who made the first one. Come on now, I'm available. Kid Capri and I, we've been working on something, but the pandemic done shut us down for a minute. You know what I mean? But I have some other things in the works that I'm getting ready to do that's gonna, I'm telling you, I am so excited about what's in store for the next, because there is going to be a next. It's just going to be kind of, scaled.
Yeah, okay. So something just came to mind because you talked about your background.
Sorry for preaching.
No, hey, have at it. This is a platform. Go ahead. You were talking about like your background as far as family and in the industry. A lot of it was music based. What brought you to comedy?
The Apollo. Seeing that. Okay. But now let's go back to Roselle High School. Okay. At Roselle High School, I have a classmate who's an Aquarian like myself, right? Our parents, our moms was in a club. They used to play Pacino together back when we was 4 years, back when we were 4 years old, right? His name is Rocky Bryant. Okay. Rocky is a drummer by profession. He used to play the triple drums in the high school band, right? Anyway, I had received a phone call from a friend of mine, right, who had his family in Plainfield, was very well known. And he had colleagues who owned a restaurant in North New Jersey, right? The area was kind of like industrial. It was kind of like, it was kind of weird. Anyway, they wanted to see if they could like change it from what it was. All right, it was a strip club, but it was a restaurant. All right, but it was, a lot of undesirables. Yeah, it was what it was, right? So he had called me because he used to listen. I met him because he was one of my faithful listener on the radio, right? Just a dude that liked what I was doing. So he was thinking that maybe I can help this situation. So I called Rock. I said, Rock, let's take a ride down here because this might be a place that help us do what we're doing, because I haven't planned. I have an idea. And what it is back when I first started this company called All Flavors Productions, and me and my partner, Herm Hines, who used to be on the radio with me, we used to DJ all over the place. So that's when my man who sent us down to Newark, my man Jeff Dunn sent us down to Newark. He and I and Herm, along with another friend, Jeff Sandlin, we had formed this company called All Flavors Productions. So we was giving these little events. And one of the events that we did was at a place in Plainfield called the Grant Avenue Community Center, right? And that's the same place where I was able to meet John Amos, the father from Good Times. Right. And I've kind of like volunteered to be his street team, right? Like putting out flyers and stuff in barbershops and stuff, because I was like on the grind. And he, so I kind of like got embedded with him and getting knowledge from him, right? So at this place, we decided to have this event. It was probably the coldest night of the year, right? But we combined our DJing along with Herm DJing and stuff. Rocky had a band, right? My boy Rocky put together a band. And I had another friend from Roselle High School, right? Named Antoine Mathis, right? Okay. Antoine, we call him Twink. He was a fledgling comedian. Nobody knew this, but Twink was running back and forth to New York, getting online and stuff, trying to be a comedian. But you had to be online. He didn't have a place where he could really do his thing, right? But it was other comedians, all trying to do their thing. So I decided that I was gonna put together this show and have Twink be the host of the day. So here he is emceeing and stuff, right? So fast forward to me and Rocky going to this place down in North. We're looking, and it's like, wow, strip pole. The pole is right behind the stage, right behind the bar and stuff. Like, it wasn't real conducive for what we was trying to do, but we're gonna do it anyway. We made it a jazz and comedy club because jazz had been big in North during the 60s, 50s and 60s and early 70s, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody had come through Branford Place, right? And then I knew that comedy, Black comedy, they were out there because I used to go to the Apollo all the time, right? But where can the Black comedians work consistently and perfect their craft or even be seen? We started this comedy thing there. And it was all based off of how it all came together. So then, while I'm at this place, it's like, and you have to know this, because I think I have to say it now while I still have folks really listening to this thing. When I had gotten frustrated on that job, I mean, it was like, I gotta do something. And my family is like an uncle to me, Bobby Townsend, right? Not Robert Townsend in LA, but another one. He was in the industry, Howard grad, big up to Kamala Harris, Howard grad, right? He told me that I needed to learn the power of networking. So that's what all of this had become. But part of the networking was that I needed, and Mr. Doobie used to trip off of this when I would come to the school and speak to the students. There was a book I needed to get. This is what my unc's telling me. The book was called What Color is Your Parachute? Right? Oh. Now check it out. I'm like, what color is my? It was based off of what the fuck do you want to do? All right? I mean, because it's like you want to do so many things, break it all down. What is it? Zero in on what it is that you really want to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm reading this book, and this book is not taking me anywhere. I'm not getting it. He said, keep reading it. That day he said, keep reading it. That was the page that hit. Wow. It was the page that hit. So here I am. So now Rocky and I got this thing happening, right? And it started moving us into other things, right? Where now I get a job at Def Jam Records, right? Through the whole movement. And then we phase, as I'm there, the comedy thing that I had been doing since 1986 start coming around. Rocky goes on to start playing for all these world-renowned musicians, and he is now drummer for the Average White Band, their regular drummer. And he's also, since the pandemic, when he gets back, he's the drummer for the Broadway musical Tina. Wow. That's two brothers from Roselle High School's class of 79. You know what I'm saying? But it all started from staying, and then, you know, I'm doing this jazz thing, and I start booking talent at another room in Elizabeth. So I'm running from North to Elizabeth on the weekends with my jazz sets. Then I meet a lady who says to me that she was referred by Gregory Hines's people, and they're trying to book somebody in my room. I didn't have space there, but I found space somewhere else. Come to find out, she works at Def Jam, right? Next thing I know, she's looking for an assistant. Do I know anybody? Yeah. That'll be me. That'll be me. You know what I mean? Right. And now here I am sitting down and see, they looking over my shoulder. They know what I'm talking about. You know, it's just
you need to tell the audience who is that? Who is that? So they know who's looking over your shoulder.
See, everybody used to think that my grandfather looked like him, but there's only one red fox. And then Mr. Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what's up. And then this poster here is my first, this is my first joint with that man right there. They call him Martin. You know, you know. So it's like, it's been a good ride, but it all started right there on Chestnut Street. You know, actually it started on Warren Street. Actually it started on St. Joseph. Because my daycare center was Hollywood Barbershop. Wow. I dropped out of daycare when I was 4. I dropped out of daycare. You know any daycare dropouts?
Well, how did you drop out of daycare?
Because my father said that he could daycare me all day. I left and they set me up a little space in the back of the barbershop. That's right. And that was my little daycare. I was watching Romper Room with Miss Louise.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah. Y'all couldn't. Then Captain Jack, and Officer Joe. They would come on later. Then I would watch Speed Racer and Gigantor, and I was good to go.
See, I remember Speed Racer. I remember Romper Room, but the other ones, I think that was before my time. That was before my time.
Yeah.
So you were saying that it takes perseverance, but let me ask you, like, what did you see was the biggest shift, you know, as you started getting in more and more into the business? What did you notice in your personal relationships as you climb the ladder of success?
Well, people got to understand, well, I guess it's kind of easier for me because my godfather said something to me that when I was 11 years old. And it's amazing on where my career has gone because it comes back to what he said to me. Mm-hmm. Okay. He said, Bobby, whatever you do, okay, you could walk with kings and queens, but don't you ever lose the common touch. Mm. I've watched people lose the common touch with me. People who I've actually put in the game, somewhere along the line, they forget. Some of them even introduce me to people who I introduced them to. So, you know, gifting. That's what it is. But I don't have no time for that because I gotta keep moving. So my thing is, I learned to stay consistent, stay humble, you know, because even some people will make you feel like you changed when you didn't change. You know, all it takes is communication with people. If we could talk about it, I'd rather have, I was speaking on a panel in the Bay Area at a comedy festival. I never will forget it. Place was packed, right, with comedians and stuff, and we're up here. So now comes the Q&A, right? And a couple times this type of stuff happens. Q&A, dude gets up, right? Rah. He goes, how many of y'all in here think that Bob Sumner is arrogant? This is what he says. Yeah, this is what he says right in front of me. How many of y'all think Bob Sumner is arrogant, right? And then all you can hear is, right? Like you can see, like everybody's trying to figure out how is Bob gonna react to this dude's statement? Because people know how I could be. I'm real humble, but then there's that other side of me if I feel like you done crossed me a little bit. Know what I did? Exactly. Know what I did? I applauded him. I said, thank you, brother, because you said to my face what other people may have thought. But do you see, no one agreed with you because you don't really know me, but they know me. I'm a good dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm down at the Improv in Orlando. I'm around a bunch of comedians because everywhere I go, the comedians want to hear what I have to say because I've been there, right? So there's one dude, he's smoking on his blunt and stuff, and he's smiling and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out where he going with this. What does he get ready to say, right? I said, what's up with you, fam? Know what he said to me? He said, man, somebody told me, now somebody told me that you was an asshole, right? I said, are you serious, man? He said, yeah, man. He said, you cool as a mug, right? This is where he's going into this, right? And I said, man, I'm only me. I said, dig this though, dig this. Let me ask you something, fam. I said, let me ask you something. I said, the brother that said that to you, right? Think about who said that to you. He kind of like an asshole, ain't he? Right? He laughed. He said, yeah. He said, man, you know what? You right, man. You right. He said, I could see why you won't mess with him. That's the next thing. What do I see when I'm looking for talent? When I'm looking for talent, I'm looking for more than talent. I'm looking for character. I'm looking for character. Because once I put you on, that might be the last time you even pay any attention to me. Because you're only trying to get on to the next level or whatever the case may be. And I'm not going to put you on just based on your talent when I know that you've been driving my people in craft services and in wardrobe crazy. I don't need that to reflect on me because that's who it's going to come back on. So is it very important when I'm putting talent out there and I'm looking at talent all over the country, not even just the country. I go to Bermuda, I go to London, I go to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? I might find someone, you know? So it's just my ride has been an amazing ride. And
it's still going.
Over.
It's still going.
You know, my last mob is, you know, again, I told you, more of Bob's best. Word up.
Right.
Yeah.
So what drives you to show up every day? Like, what is your why, or what are your whys?
Part of it is when I met Bernie Mac, he was driving a Wonder Bread truck. When I met Bill Bellamy, he was delivering cigarettes to bodegas. That's what drives me. When I met Avion Crockett, who has a special coming on tonight on Kevin Hart's network, LOL, when I met him, he was just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? That's what inspires me. It inspires me that when Bernie Mac left this earth, he's still here, okay? But Bernie was no longer driving that truck for that company. You know what I mean? That's what inspires me because I want to see the next one win all day. But now it's time for me to win too. Even though I've won, but it's time for me to win again, I guess you could say, because, you know, again, I don't like when people try to underestimate me. Well, not even that they're underestimating me, they're underestimating what's out here. Because I know what's out here. I know that there's a Rita Brent who have a special coming on tonight as well. Rita Brent, funny stand-up comedian. You know, I know that there's a man, I don't even want to say some of the names because people don't even know who they are yet. I don't want to just give it away. You'll see. But there's a kid named Marshall Brandon right now that he would have been on my first season of Def Comedy Jam. I know he would have. No different than he takes you back to Robin Harris and Bernie, like those type of, like somebody who feels like their family. He has that type of humor. You know, there's a bunch of women. There's a Ty Davis, Pretty Ricky from Roselle. You know, it's crazy because Sincere called me up one day and said, "Cuz, I have my friend's sister tried to do some comedy last night, man, and I think that she has something." I said, well, have her come down to my room over here. I was doing over where Central Park is, right? I put her up on stage for 5 minutes, and now she's doing her thing in Hollywood. You know, that's what gets me off. I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. So, like to go through, first of all, the industry can have a lot of pros and cons, and it can take you through an emotional and mental roller coaster. So throughout that, who would you say has been your biggest supporter in what you're doing?
I'm amazed at how you set up the questions based off of you must be picking up my thought of the last thing I said, because you just asked me and I was getting ready to say something to you. My mother, okay? My mother, every now and then I post like all through, everybody know, even while I was building the Laugh Mob brand, I had felt like I needed to be home. I was in Los Angeles every 3 weeks, but I would come home for 3 weeks and then go back. But I always had to make sure I was home at the top of the month to take care of moms, okay? Because mom believed in me when no one else did, okay? She took me through this whole thing, you know? I love my grandma. She was there, and my dad, they were there, you know? You know, as I was doing this, but mom, you know, I would put her photos up on Facebook and people would look and go, your mom was a fox. My mom was a top model in the early 50s. She was doing all of the big ads and this, that, and the other, but she schooled me on the industry, you know, especially when I started like moving into it, you know. Even like my mom said, Bobby, while you doing all this, don't ever turn your couch into a casting couch, because they used to try to put me on that couch and I wasn't about it. And the ones that didn't used to try to put me on there, those was the ones that made it in life. The other ones turn into, you see what's happening today.
Right.
You see what's happening today. You know what I mean? So I think that was the biggest thing, you know, between, never losing the common touch. It was about knowing your grounds, staying, you know, knowing what you're doing here. You know, so that was a pretty easy hit. But I can also say, you know, through, you know, my education, you know, I mean, Edith Maynor, you know, she set me up lovely for what it was going to be. And then, you know, Sister Ellen Kenny, my Spanish teacher, Miss Hubert, and definitely Mr. Doobie, like those people stand out with me because they never gave up on me. Because I was a pistol. I'm a good dude, but I'm also, you know, I like to have fun. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's that. That's how it goes.
Okay. All right. So let's thank them again. So we're gonna thank Kenny, Doobie, Maynor. There was another teacher. I'm missing one.
Hubert. Yeah,
and
that was. And then there was Sluviak. Then there was my principal.
And let's thank Sluviak. Let's thank Dad. Let's thank Grandma, and of course, most importantly, let's thank Mom. Thank you. Hand clap, everyone.
And then comes the Seton Hall family. You know what I mean? Then comes the Seton Hall family, that whole African American Studies department. They really got behind me. You know, all of this pushed me into becoming the man and the dad. You know, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? You know?
That's awesome. So,
you know, I got married at an early age. You know what I mean? So I was able to navigate through all of that and then have my kids, you know, become who they have become. My baby boy just won him an Emmy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was a hell of a ride. But now it's time for me to really take it to that next level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And your family's talented too, because your nephew sings. Because he was at my dance school.
He's killing the game right now. He's killing the game.
Yeah. Wow.
So everybody's good. And then, you know, at the same time, I have another uncle who inspired me when I was coming up, because my dad remarried, and he actually, him and Willie Randolph are brother-in-laws. And all through my teenage years, you know, I watched Willie build his legacy with the New York Yankees, and, you know, the conversations that we had over the years were very, very inspiring. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing.
Okay, so having support obviously in the business is important, which you've talked about, that you had that support, but you also talked about previously how, you know, like there were some people who would get next to you because they wanted something, they wanted that hookup, they wanted you to take them to another level. So with knowing that there were the fake people, and then there was the genuine people in your life as you went through your journey, how did that affect you, like mentally and spiritually and physically, not knowing really who was your true, you know, who was your true tribe around you? Like, how did that affect you, just even going through and seeing all the different things? So I know, like, you see things behind the curtain too, and you're like, morally, how do I react to these things? So how did it affect you and shape and mold you into who you are now, and still be able to even maintain your humble? Like, I'm still like forward.
Well, I mean, again, and when you ask me all of the elements to me, you know, all of the elements, all of the people that was just named, all right? It's easy for me to answer this question that you just presented to me, because there's two people that I didn't mention, right? My brothers, Gary and Reggie, had to deal with a lot of what you just said coming up. Okay, they had a singing group where they had records. You know, they had records. They were good. Some people loved them and some people envied them. You know what I mean? Some people was just there for the ride, because when the ride stopped, the people stopped, right? Little Bobby paid attention to that at an early age, where I knew that if it ever became my time, just be prepared for it. You know what I mean? And that's why I keep, you know, vision got larger, circle got smaller. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. And because there are people that jump off the ship and then they try to get back on. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to throw you a rope and have you and pull you back on. But that rope going to be a little longer this time. You know what I mean? That rope's going to be a little longer for you to get back on this ship. You know what I mean? Where the people that stuck with me, it's time to go to the next level. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, don't be mad at me for that.
Right. Okay. So, okay, here we go. Now, when people become wealthy or wealthier, they may indulge in guilty pleasures. They'll reinvest in their business, they'll donate to organizations, or save and put in trusts for their family. How do you choose to use your wealth?
How do I choose to use my wealth? Well, I believe that you got to earn your keep. You know what I'm saying? So while my kids can have what I feel as though I need to give them, I want them to be able to earn things too.
Right.
You know, going to school was one thing. I help you get through school. You know what I mean? If that's the case. But, you know, they were fortunate enough to get some help, you know. But at the same time, I I just think that it's important for people to, you accept things better, you appreciate things better when you made it happen for you. So handouts ain't happening on this end. You know what I'm saying? However, there are some things that mean a whole lot to me. One being my family, in terms of family are here, but the ones who are no longer here. I want them to still be remembered. And that's what has enabled me to have this softball game every year, because I'm bringing unity to the community. Everybody is coming, having a ball. Everybody's seeing each other who they haven't seen in a long time. Everybody's playing sport. Everybody's having a great time through sports, but it's peace, love, and soul out there, you know? But at the same time, we raise money for the American Cancer Society.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's what I do. You know, I mean, I'm in the process of creating, of course, a foundation, you know, but I have to get there. You know, I have to get there. But, you know, that's what I'm all about. And again, I'm here. I can be found. And, you know, there are sometimes people who say, damn, Bob, why are you still around? Which way you want me to go so you could talk about me? You know what I mean? Remember when, you know, what Bob done forgot where you come from? You're never going to hear that here.
Right.
Never.
Right. Right. And so you touch base into actually the next question, and you've already kind of talked about this throughout all of it, because everything you do is based on community, but it's a part of my lineup of questions. So I'm going to ask it because maybe you can kind of put the icing on the cake for this one. How do you feel that you are adding value to your community?
Nick, when we first started our preset, and then you said my mic was on, I don't know. I looked at your notes and I said, wow, when we talk, we're gonna go through everything, but still, it's easy for me to answer this question again. Like, this is like, there's things to do, because I can honestly say this, and I'm hoping for the opportunity again, but I think that you'll get a kick out of this, because I think that I was getting ready to have the moment of my life. While I've been able to enjoy the fruits of so much over the years, I was at one of the Roselle football games over at this beautiful new complex over here, right? I was over there speaking with overseer Ernie Vaughn and Mayor-elect Donald Shaw, right? This was back last, maybe October. And the principal of Roselle High School, Rashad Mickens, he's no longer there. He's no longer there, and it kind of like threw me for a loop for a minute. He asked me to, could he speak to me for a minute, right? And I was like, what's up, man? He said, I know that you have a very extensive schedule, right? I know you're pretty busy, but I wanted to know what your schedule was like in June, right? And I told him that I produce an event down in Miami for the American Black Film Festival in June, the top of June. But what's going on? He said, now you could think about this, but I was wondering if you would care to be the commencement day speaker at our senior graduation. The what? I couldn't believe it. Do you know what that was like to hear him ask me that? And then to ask me to think about it? That thing was thought about in a second. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because this was going to be Bob Sumner having an opportunity to speak to Bob Sumner.
Yeah.
Whether it was him or her, I would be speaking to me. I would be able to tell them everything I learned from What Color Is Your Parachute? Prior to graduating college, not high school and college, but prior to, I didn't learn that till after college. I didn't read that book till after college. You know what I'm saying? If I had that book before I entered college, right out of high school, you know what I mean? But so I'm saying just the little tidbits about everything. And I told him I wouldn't be long. I know how graduations go, but I did watch President Obama's virtual commencement address. And he expressed the importance of what? Community. He was speaking to those kids about community because it's important. I look at John Lewis, right? Nobody knew that John Lewis was on the front line at 15, 16, 17 years old. He was 23 when he spoke at the March on Washington. Think about that. It's like, that's what we need for this generation to do now, make a difference so we don't have to be here. They ain't finished counting the vote. They ain't gonna finish counting the votes until, these votes is longer than James Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? So that's the thing that that has hit me most during this whole thing, that I didn't get that opportunity because of the pandemic. I mean, that was like the biggest thing on my calendar. So now Mr. Mickens is no longer there, but he gave me a call and he wanted to make sure that my calendar was free in 21. So I believe that I'll be there. I'm really praying that I will have the opportunity to speak to the class of 2021. And hopefully some of the class of 2020 will come out too to hear what I was going to say, because I'm still going to say it. You know what I mean? Because I know that we were underdogs at Abraham Clark High School for the most part. Nobody thinks that you can nobody really thinks that you can make it out of there, because so many don't take advantage of what my dad now, my dad worked at the high school. He was an attendance officer, truant officer. He had Mr. Satterfield's job. Okay. And my dad and I sat and had lunch every day from 8th grade to 12th. Okay. I sat down at my dad's kitchen table and absorbed everything that he poured inside of me, whether I wanted to hear it or not. But the things that I was fighting back to hear were the things that I lived. You know what I mean?
Right.
And thank you, Dad. My dad was a trip, cool like that. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm kind of sad that I missed a lot of the events that have been going on the last couple of years because I was out of country. But I definitely want to, and hopefully I'll come back on the East Coast so I can be a part of some of these things. I know usually when I'm in Roselle, I also like to do things within the high school. I know I'm sang for a couple of the games for Mr. Smith. And when I opened my dance school, that was my way of giving back to Roselle. So I feel you in that whole idea of, just wanting to give back, for the place that kind of molds you into who you are, and, giving them the opportunity to have access to something that we may not have gotten access to until later on in life. So thank you for that, because not everybody does that. So thank you. So what tips or advice would you give to someone who is interested in pursuing their dreams, starting a business, or changing directions in their business?
Be all about 100% to whatever it is that you're going to do. Don't settle for 98%. Don't settle for 98% because those 2% are the most important. The follow through. The follow through. You know, make sure it is what you want to do. You know what I mean? Again, you can have a lot of ideas, but what do you consider the priority to be? What's number one on the list? And then the other thing is, you know, make sure that your business is straight at home before you go out here trying to do something else. Because if you have children, they come first. They come first, second, and third. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the other thing is don't give up on your dream, because your dream might come at 5 minutes to midnight. You know what I mean? And you couldn't wait till midnight. You left at 10 minutes to midnight. You can't do that.
Right.
And the other thing is keep the faith. Know who your Lord and Savior is. I touched on it earlier, but I have to say this, that I used to always hear about God. Heard of him. Didn't really know him. Until December 12th. I should say no, it was 12 degrees on December 14th. December 14th, 2005, I was severely carjacked. And I saw my life like but sitting there in my passenger seat was him. God was there. And from that moment on, I've never looked back, you know? And there's been peaks and valleys. But every time that valley seemed to be approaching, God says, the peak is right over there. Keep going. So that's really how it is. I put it all in his hands. You know what I mean? Because we're just here for a minute. I mean, when I tell you I've lost over 40 people since January, that's a low number. I'm sure it's more than that right now. And I'm talking about close friends, you know? So I know that I have to just make the best out of what's here today for me and whoever else want to ride with me. You know what I mean? Because I ain't got no time. I ain't got no time to be messing around. None.
Right.
Not near none.
Well, we're glad that God was in the passenger seat. We're glad you're still here with us. And we're glad you're still changing lives and being an influencer. We appreciate you. You're like the original influencer before like Instagram and all that other stuff.
I be seeing everybody be talking about the culture creators and, you know, this, that, and the other. And I'm saying to myself, I stay, like I said, I stay in my lane, and I do, you know, because everybody even you'd be surprised how many people take, you know, say they're responsible for a lot of things that I know I've done, you know, and know that I'm responsible for them. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good because he knows what it is. And I was listening, somebody called me one day because they was listening to an interview with Russell. And Russell said that, you know, I'm the one that basically, you know, created the whole Def Comedy Jam situation. And I don't really talk about it like that because we all lend a hand in a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, if he said it, okay. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that. But when I hear these other folks talk about whatever, I just be like, wow, this is deep. This is deep. This is deep. We got some people that was definitely hanging in there.
Yes, Miss Walker was there. We had Ileana there.
That's cool. Keeping keeping up on this.
J.S. Davis.
Because what happens is when you're taping this and this, that, and the other, I know this is like, we did this live. You know, who knew, right? We made it happen. But so, yeah.
You ready for the lightning round?
Oh, that's what's happening?
That's what's
lightning
next.
Round.
Yeah, so I got 6 questions. I'm gonna ask you, whatever comes to your mind for that answer, you give it to us and we'll keep it going. You ready?
Okay.
All right. So what initially, if anything, held you back from actually getting into the business?
What held me back?
If anything.
What held me back from getting into the business? I'm not going to say anything actually held me back, because I always was headed into the business. But I think that if anything held me back, it would probably be, and I'm going to go back to it, what held me back was not knowing about that damn book. That book changed my life. That sounds crazy, right? But I read a book that changed my life. I know it did because I know what I did after I read the book. I started selling air conditioners. Seriously. After I read that book, I started selling VCRs, when VCRs, stereo equipment. I started selling dishwashers, washing machines, dryers. I worked at a place called Trader Horn because it was a place where I would be able to network and also listen to the stereos.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That makes sense. Okay. So what is the best advice you've ever received?
I did touch on that earlier. The best advice I received was my godfather's words of being able to stay humble. Stay humble. Because think about my life and all of the people who I've touched, right? I could be living a lot differently if I wanted to. You know what I mean? And I always say, I could be like running over to Saint-Tropez every other month, stuff like that, if I just wanted to follow one of my big wheels. You know what I mean? Think about it. I've honestly been able to touch the lives of 25 millionaires. Literally 25, easy, probably more. You know what I mean? Never asked them for a dime, not near none of them. I might in 2021 though. No, let me
Funny.
No, I got a situation that I'm getting ready to do that I am going to be reaching out to them because I want them to be a part of it, because I got something real hot on the stove.
Well, I don't know what it is, but I want to be a part of it. If I got to just run a camera or something.
On the stove. All right.
All right. So share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
I could say something right now that would be so easy to answer, only because New Jersey. I can answer this question in a way now that I could never have answered this question before.
Okay.
All right. And I'm gonna be straight up, because when you're asking me that question, there has only been one thing that has kept me sane through all of this. And again, we just had a big election last Tuesday, where my boy Donald Shore became mayor of Roselle, New Jersey. And I was very, very excited about that. Very excited about that. And then, you know, of course, I've been very excited about the presidential election, especially, you know, of course, we needed to get Vice President Biden elected, but to get Kamala Harris in, that is so, so dope. You know what I mean? So I thought that all of that was a beautiful thing with the election, but something else happened on that Tuesday that I thought was major, because I never understood how people can say that alcohol was cool while you have all these drunk driving situations and stuff like that. However, I knew for me, if I ever get uptight, or, you know, I have a herniated disc in my neck, my back, I have a torn rotator cuff, you know? And fortunately, I was able to get my medical marijuana card, you know? All right?
Sorry.
So when you ask me that question, and what was the question again?
What's a personal habit that contributes to your success?
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
And I can do that now because you know who else won last Tuesday?
Yes, I know.
I mean, I was good already, but I'm just saying now everybody good or will be. So y'all join the party, huh? Keep it, join the party. I mean, so I'm gonna be straight up with you. That eases me because I have to deal with so much. My Instagram DM, sometimes it makes me want to throw my phone because comedians send me any and everything all day. And don't get me wrong, I understand when no one else has pretty much launched these careers like I have. You know what I mean? And continue to do so. Somebody else want to be next. I get that. But don't get mad at me when I don't put you on and you haven't done the work. Because there's work that you have to do.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, man. Now my face hurts because I'm laughing too much. Okay, so so with you dealing and having to deal with all, you know, a number of celebrities, right? Or the ones that you've even made celebrities, out of the span of your career, has there been one person that made you kind of like fan out? That was like your, oh my God. But inside, maybe not, you know, outside, but inside you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's who that is.
This might sound crazy. You know, again, I've always been into the entertainment, comedy, music, sports. I fanned out because I was like, you gots to be kidding me. I get a phone call back in 93, 4, somewhere around there, right? And they want me to come out to LA to judge a comedy contest, right? And I was like, most definitely, I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm in the Def Jam is rolling, I'm there. You know what I mean? We like the Beatles right now, you know, it's like crazy. So I go up here to the Roxy on Sunset in LA, right? And I come into the place and, you know, I'm here, right? So I'm talking to the guy that invited me there and stuff. And he goes, Bob, come over here for a minute because Don really wants to meet you, right? And I'm like, I don't know, you know, Don really wants to meet me, right? And I'll go over and Tony, his son, goes, Bob Sumner, Don Cornelius. Don Cornelius. Don Cornelius. Yo.
Wow.
I met Dick Clark after that. But Don Cornelius wanted to meet Bob Sumner. I was like, wow, wow. He said, ha, 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 Bob Sumner, I've heard so much about you. I was like, Don Cornelius. That was the one. That was the one because I would have never thought I was going to meet Don Cornelius. I've been watching Soul Train from the moment it hit that stage in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that was like kind of major. I had a couple other situations, you know, that was kind of crazy. Me and my boy Jeff had went out to see Parliament Funkadelic in Central Park, right? And it was packed, and you had to have like a band and stuff to get backstage, right? To get, you know, because we ain't had no tickets to get in, not this, that, and the other, right? So I said, there's a gate. If I see anybody over there that I know, they might be able to pull us in, right? So I see somebody, right? And we go in and we carte blanche, this, that, and the other. And on the way out, my boy Jeff goes, Bob, I didn't know you knew Frankie Crocker. It was Frankie Crocker had got us in the back of the show. And he was just in amazement, you know, but it was like, I never forget the first time I met Frankie Crocker because I was into wanting to be in broadcasting and stuff, you know what I mean? So that was a special moment. And then another time was when Quincy Jones, he was executive producer of this show. And he was looking for a new host or whatever. And he just wanted to pick my brain because Russell told him to give me a call. And next thing I know, I pick up the phone and it's Quincy Jones. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? It's like those was moments in my life that I never forget because I idolized these guys, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, man. Dizzy Gillespie taught me a lot.
Oh, wow.
Dizzy Gillespie taught me a lot when I was a production assistant for a good friend of mine, Chuck Brownlee. He used to put on these festivals at North Symphony Hall, the terrace room there. And we had Dizzy Gillespie was one of the acts, and I had to like kind of like shadow him, you know, make sure that he was straight. And he had had some great things to say.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm doing a documentary actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called The Birth of Death, Who is Bob Sumner? And it really tells, you know, it tells all of what we talked about and a lot more.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well,
Work
thank
in
you
progress.
for giving us like a snippet of what's going on.
Jeff Billingsley, shout out to Jeff Billingsley producing it, my man.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. So now the next question, you've said it like 1,000 times, unless you have something different, but what book would you recommend to the C2C audience and why?
Well, I mean, again, it would be What Color's My Parachute, you know, by Noble. He just tells you, he sets your plan because it's almost like the pyramid, you know what I mean? Where you start here at the bottom and you just rise, but it's like certain steps that you take to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here's a deep question, Bob. You ready? If you found out that you had 1 hour left to live and you were given the opportunity to share one final message, what would it be?
I say it all the time. Everybody knows that it's my hashtag. It's my hashtag, and it was so interesting that what was it? OWN. I think it was the OWN network. One of the networks, I believe it was OWN. One of them did a show based off the title of what I always say: love is. Love is. There's nothing better than love. And love comes in so many forms, but love is the complete other end of the spectrum to hate. And that's not in my vocabulary, nowhere near it. Even people that may, I like to say dislike, I don't even want to say the word, you know what I mean? Because it's just so ill. Jealousy, envy, all of that. You know, I have a real problem with that. And that's why I've learned just to like shy away. A lot of people who used to see me don't even see me anymore. You know what I mean? Because I don't need negative energy at all. You know what I mean? When I see it coming my way, I go the other way. You know, I'm good. I'm so good. Love is. It's all about love. Maurice White, you know, the great Maurice White used to talk about love all the time. And I know he's at peace right now. And I know I will be. You know, I had a real scare where it was like, I felt like I only had 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? Every time I look at this dent in my head, you know, every time, man, I just be like, shit, you know, but I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm here. You know, right there was a hole right in my head. And I look at it and I just thank the Lord for sparing me and giving me an opportunity to whoever absorb whatever I say with you today. You know, if it's one piece that somebody picked up on, that's cool with me. You know, that's why I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher when I first went to Seton Hall, because I just wanted to reach that person that needed that opportunity to know that someone really cared about them. You know, you have a lot of people that all they need is somebody, all they need is a hug. You know, even, you know, now I guess we got to give virtual hugs, you know what I mean? But they still need a hug.
Yeah. And, you know, although you did not teach in the classroom, you are a teacher and you have been a teacher and you continue to teach in the book of life, really. Like, so you're still fulfilling your dream and your goal. So thank you.
Yeah, I got to the classroom. I just didn't get to the classroom totally because I was able, by being a substitute teacher, I was able to be there and then do what I had to do so we could do what we're doing now. You know what I'm saying? It all comes together, but I still was a teacher. Even like you said, even this way, it's all together. It's all, it's good.
Yeah. So despite the pandemic, and I don't know if this is, if it's pushed you back for anything, do you have anything upcoming that you want to share to the audience so that they know to watch out for it?
Well, I'm just really, really in the lab. When I say that, meaning I'm setting up some new joints. But, you know, everything that I'm looking at is really after the new year because, you know, I'm still at the Apollo. We got shut down in March, but we will pick up at some point in 2021. I just don't know when. I was in this past March, I was actually getting ready to kick off the a thing called Laugh Mob Live. And what I was going to do is go to city wineries around the country, with the first one being in Philadelphia. We was going to open up monthly and I would bring in like a headline act to go along with two of the local hot acts with a host from that city. And I was going to take that around the country. So we're going to pick back up on that whenever we get the word. Again, the Apollo Comedy Club, you know, I'll be back there when we get the word. And then I'm getting ready to kick off my own show on a podcast type joint called the Bob Sumner Show, which I'm going to be interviewing all of the guys and girls who I launched their careers, to watch their journeys to where they are now, and this, that, and the other. And it's going to be a real comfortable conversation. So some producers approached me, some real producers. So we're going to set that up, like I said, the Kid Capri Project. And then I'm getting ready to do a real big announcement soon with a real reputable company that everybody's going to go, wow. So I'm kind of like keeping that one
on the wraps,
keeping that one close. Yeah. And then hopefully I can bring the softball game back next year, which is a great, great thing. One thing that I'm missing out on next month, and when you talk about community, is my classmate Ron Heyman, who was a councilman in town. He passed away a few years ago. And what I've been doing in his memory every year is having a free holiday concert at Roselle High School, where you used to sing in Miss Rung's choir. Yeah, yeah, we do a live show there. I bring in nationally known acts and stuff, and we do a free show for the community. But of course, that won't be happening this year due to the pandemic. But I'm just well, no, and then the other thing is I had started this thing called Comedy Night School, where comedians had an opportunity. You know, a comedian need a place to work on their material, especially now. Now the whole everything's changing. So I'm looking to bring that back very soon. I'll probably bring that back before anything. You know, I just gotta figure everything else out. But yeah, I'm on my grind. And then, like I said, people could catch me on Facebook on Sunday afternoons, and I'll be grooving.
Okay.
You know, I go back to, you know, those days of people listening to some real cool music.
Oh,
you know?
nice.
So yeah. So that's what's happening. But this announcement that we're about to have, that's going to be like the biggie for 2021. But again, thank you for all of that, though. Give me opportunity, you know, and of course, I guess my handle, people want to hit me on IG, right? That's the best way. Bob.Sumner on IG, or I have a Facebook. I have an all things comedy page that you could catch up on. That's Bob Sumner Comedy Spot. Then I have a Bob Sumner Presents LLC. You're on that. I saw. That's a group page to keep people up on, you know, what I have going on. You know, my personal page, I don't have a Bob Sumner 2 page. I only have the one, which is, you know, of course, that's filled to capacity. But every now and then somebody will decide that they want to leave, and then I'll bring somebody else in there. You know, it's like a 2,000 people pending, but I don't even know who that is. You know, so yeah, I'm just making moves and staying in my lane and staying true to my community. My community comes first. Family and my community. And of course, the man upstairs leads me through all of it.
Absolutely. Man, well, I'm definitely appreciative, like I said, and thank you for spending the time with us today and sharing all the golden nuggets, all the information, just to let us know a little bit more about who you are and what you're doing in, you know, this world and in our communities. And, you know, again, thank you just for being you and opening up to you know, the steps of your life and being transparent with us. We really appreciate that. You're welcome. Definitely bring some laughter back, because we need some laughter right now. Please get a virtual show going for some laughing, please.
You know, well, since you said that, and I should have mentioned this, I'm also in the midst of putting together on social media, Laugh Mob TV. Laugh
Okay,
Mob
yes.
TV Laugh Mob TV is going to showcase all of my various shows that I've produced over the years. We're also going to look at classic content from, the Richard Pryors of the world, the Flip Wilsons of the world. We'll look at classics, and we'll also look at original content, because you have a lot of young comedy creators and stuff that are looking to do things. And then the other thing is, I've been doing a show in Willingboro, New Jersey, called the Saturday Night Comedy Show, along with Roselle alum Jethro Curtis. He's down in Willingboro. We've been doing this show, and that's where we spotlight young new talent, as well as I look at talent to bring to the Apollo. Like I used to use the Peppermint in Jersey to get people to the Def Comedy Jam. So I've been doing that. And also, when I was telling you about what I was doing back in Newark at the spot Terminal D with the jazz and comedy, since I've been back in Jersey, I created a space in Newark, New Jersey. Once a month, we do a thing called Jazz and Jokes. When I tell you it's sexy, it's cool. Yeah, we do it in this hotel called the Trip Hotel. So those are two of the things that I'm doing, and you'll be able to see some of that content on Laugh Mob TV once we launch that in the new year. So, hey, just doing.
That makes me excited. Yay. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we close out?
No, I would just like for everyone to keep supporting what you're doing. And again, like I said, I'm proud of you, because I remember all of that. You went in the home, like all of you, your path through high school, was like, I could tell that you were going to be making moves. And then when I saw you open up that dance studio, and then you had your Zumba classes and all that stuff, I was like, that's what's up. And I just want you to keep going for it. And I want everybody out there in the listening audience to believe in whatever it is that you want to do. You can make it happen. All you have to do is believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you better than that?
Right. And as I teach people, is like you teach people how to treat you. So you have to learn how to believe in yourself and love yourself, so other people can see that and know what is an example of how you want to be treated. Right. Be an example. Yes.
Right on.
Yes. All right. Well, okay. So that's a wrap. And I do want to thank all the people who stayed with us for the last, what has it been, like 2 hours? Oh my goodness. This is the longest interview.
Really?
Yes, but it was really wonderful. It didn't seem like that long, but it has been amazing, great information. Yeah, according to Zoom, that's what it says. So, Bob, of course, thank you for being our special edition VIP guest on the C2C podcast. And again,
You're so
thank
welcome.
you, listeners, for tuning in. We hope that you feel inspired to keep moving forward towards your goals and stick with or make your commitment to change your life. And please make sure to check out all the links provided by our guests, because I'm going to put them in the comment section. And of course, when I post this podcast to go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that stuff, I'll have the links there. So make sure you to check out the links and share today's podcast, share today's live cast and information with anyone you feel may benefit from it. And remember, in order to get to the top of the steps, you have to take the first step. But just don't step on anyone on the way, because you just might trip. This is Miss Nikki. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Change your life, change your future. To commit to change your life, change your future.